there, welcome back. I'm Joey Sargent, Joyful Rambler, aka Moon Pie, and I'm thrilled to have you here. If it's your first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and click the bell so you'll get notified of new videos. Today we are going to talk about how to choose the right pack for your hike. And I'm going to show you a couple different options. This is a big one, this is a little one. I have actually been working a lot with other people who are trying to choose a pack since I have been working at the local outfitter that I mentioned in one of my previous videos. So one of the things that I'm finding is even people who are experienced hikers aren't sure what kind of pack they should take depending on the hike that they're planning. So choosing a backpack for, say, a through hike where you're going to be out for months at a time is a bit different than a pack that you might want for, say, traveling or even just day hikes. I have this little pack that was gifted to me a few years ago. It's by Ozark Trail, which I believe is actually made by Osprey. I'll have to double check that. But it's a good little pack, very small, although it's got lots and lots of pockets. It's got a zip pocket here at the top, another one in the front, another pocket here, pockets on the side, and lots of straps so you can kind of strap it down and make it compact. But even this on a day hike, I tend to lose things in it. So I'm more of a simplistic pack person. You may be different. So the number one thing to think about in choosing a pack is what are your own preferences for the trip that you're going on or the type of trip that you're going on, and what size pack do you need? Do you need bells and whistles? Do you need something big because you take a lot of gear? Is your gear heavier? Or are you doing more ultralight and looking for a pack that is streamlined and easy to carry, easy to load, that sort of thing? Now, on a day pack, lots of times you don't even find the hip belt straps. It's something that I like because I don't like the pack bouncing around on me as I move, but most of the smaller, lighter packs are not going to have this feature. So if it's important to you, it's something that you want to look for, and you may also want to consider, do you want pockets for your light, small pack? Now, if you're an ultralighter and you're in kind of that mid-range of a 30 to 40 liter pack, then you really just need to start thinking about, okay, what gear are you taking and will it fit in that small of a pack? Is it super light, super compact? What I'm finding is that a lot of the manufacturers, in order to make their packs lighter, particularly in that range, are actually dispensing with the hip belt pockets and going with a much more streamlined type of hip belt. And that means that you don't have any place to put your snacks or your phone unless you then choose to get, say, a shoulder strap pocket or a chest pouch, or even some people are going to fanny packs now. So if you're going ultralight, adding those things is going to add some weight to your pack. Now, when I hiked the Appalachian Trail last year, I used this Granite Gear pack. And this is a very streamlined pack. It only weighs about 2 pounds, a little bit more than 2 pounds when it has what's called the brain or the top pouch on it. But I was looking for something very light because my personal philosophy in picking a pack is that you should go with the lightest pack that meets your needs and that fits you well. So 3 criteria: how light can you get? You don't need a 5-pound pack if a 3-pound pack will do. What's your criteria? As I mentioned, do you need pockets? Do you need lots of padding? Do you need lots of structure in the frame of the pack? And then also it fits you well, because there's nothing worse than wearing a pack that doesn't fit well and developing pain points, sore spots, that sort of thing along the trail, and even worse, getting injuries because the pack is not riding on your body the way that it should. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to show you through proper pack fit, and then you can use that information when you go into the store to look for your next pack. So the first thing to consider in pack fit is your torso length, and a lot of people believe that this is tied to your height. So if you're tall, maybe you need a taller pack, and if you're short, you need a smaller pack. But what's interesting is that everybody's body is different. Some people have long legs and a short torso, or short legs and a long torso. So it's really important to get measured for your pack and make sure that the torso length is right for you. Now, torso length goes from the very top of your hip bones here, and it's kind of hard to see mine, but they're generally just a little bit below your belly button. And what I like to do is just take my fingers with the thumbs in the back and squeeze hard and feel where they hit the top of that hip bone. That's called your iliac crest, and that is where the center of the hip belt on your pack should be hitting you. When we fit people in the store, we actually have a jig that wraps around, they can buckle it, and it's got holes here where you can put your fingers through and feel to make sure that you're hitting the top of that iliac crest. If that's not fitting you properly, the jig, and if it's too high or too low, you're going to get the wrong reading on your pack fit. So it's really important to make sure that you are putting your fingers in the right space and that that hip belt on the jig is fitting you properly, because that's the bottom of the measurement of your torso. And the top of the measurement of the torso is this bone right back here. at the top of your neck. So you'll be asked to put the hip belt on and then lean forward just a little bit, not like this, but just a little bit like this, so whoever's fitting you can see where that bone is and actually take a proper measurement. I am a 16 to 16 and a half inch torso, which is actually a small size, and that doesn't surprise me, but I've been very surprised by some people that come in and they might be, you know, 5'8" for a woman or 6 foot for a man, and they're in a much smaller torso size than they expected, and it makes a huge difference as we fit the pack on them. So if you haven't been fitted recently, or if you can't remember your size, I'd highly recommend going into your local outfitter and getting a good fit. And if you're not sure if it's the right fit, go a couple different times and average the measurements to be sure that you have a good size range. Now typically packs are sized in, you know, small, medium, and large. Some now are actually adjustable, so if you're in the right range, say a small/medium, you can make some adjustments to the pack, and this adjusts where the hip and the shoulder straps hit you so that you can have pretty much a custom fit. And I've seen that on Osprey packs, and I have seen it on some Gregory's and some Deuters, which are all good packs, not ultralight, but definitely good sturdy packs for regular backpacking uses. Now, once you have your torso size, the next thing you're going to want to do is start trying on packs. And some of the differences in packs are, as I talked about, the hip belts, and this actually in the Granite Gear, this hip belt comes out of the pack and can be adjusted for the size. So as I lost weight during that trail, that worked out really well for me until the very end when I could barely get it to be small enough. But it goes from a pretty large size to a very small size, so it was a nice feature for me to have. The first thing you want to do with the packs that you're trying on is to go ahead and put the hip belt in the right spot and tighten it up so that it's nice and snug but not too tight. The next thing you want to do is actually fit your straps, and you want to take these and pull down and back until it's good and snug right up against your body. You want to do that because this is the secondary thing that's really going to keep your pack on your back. The hip belt is most important because you'll carry about 70% of your pack weight on your hips and another probably 20 to 25% on your shoulders. The straps should hit you right here. They should not be like up in the air like that. Make sure that load lifters, if they're on your pack, are released, and then pull them forward to keep the pack weight closer to your body and keep your center of gravity close. Then the last thing you want to do is just connect the chest strap. Some people do this before the load lifters. You're really not carrying any weight here in the chest strap, but it does keep the strap secure and helps your pack from sliding around. A lot of packs, this one in particular, have adjustments so that the chest strap can go anywhere from just under your collarbone to lower if that's more comfortable. It's a little bit difficult on this pack to adjust because you've got to kind of wiggle it and move it up and down the webbing. A lot of packs now have a little channel here where it's very quick and easy to slide the chest strap up and down to the perfect fit. So once you've got that in place, if you've got load in your pack, as I mentioned, pull the load lifters to keep it close and tight to your body and see how it feels. You will find that different packs have different strap shapes. I'm wearing a women's pack that's got kind of an S curve to accommodate the chest. And a lot of packs, men's packs, don't have that kind of curve. You'll find different levels of padding in the straps, and you will also find that the height of the pack in the back is different. So some people may find that, you know, if the pack is real tall, it hits you in the back of the head, and that is not quite as comfortable. Now, as I mentioned, this pack is a pretty light pack, and one of the things that makes it light is the back here. There is a little bit of texture for ventilation, and it's really kind of almost a frameless pack. It has a plastic sheet inside that gives it structure. Some packs that are completely frameless don't have that at all. They may have a couple of metal stays, like the ULAs, and there's some other packs that have metal stays that can actually bend to conform to your body. But this one, because it doesn't have a ton of structure to it, this actually sits up right against your body, and some people will find that that is hot in the summertime. I did sweat a bit, but not so much that I was miserable and uncomfortable. If that's really a concern to you, you can look at some packs that have almost a trampoline type structure. And Osprey is one that has that. My first pack actually was an Osprey, and it's the pack kind of tends to arch away, and there is a mesh fabric, and it's going to give you a good 2 or 3 inches of clearance between where the mesh sits on your back and the actual pack itself, so you have airflow blowing through there to help keep you cool and comfortable. Now the downside of that type of pack is that the load is a little bit away from your body, and so your center of gravity is not quite as close to your core as it would be with a pack like I use. So those are things to think about in terms of pack fit. You will find differences in how wide the straps are, as I mentioned, the shape of the straps, how much padding they have, and where they hit you. So those are all things to think about. The straps should definitely be comfortable. The hip belt should definitely be comfortable. Some of the more streamlined packs do not have a lot of padding in the hip belt, so you may find that uncomfortable if you feel like you have, say, bony hips and you need to have that extra padding to make you comfortable. Something else to think about is that the way the hip belt adjusts. Some of them are just one strap like mine. Some are two straps that are kind of shaped like this, and you have to run the webbing through back and forth to make adjustments. Some hip belts are adjustable and some are not, like the one that I showed you where I have the Granite Gear has a unique adjustment in the back of the hip belt as well as the adjustment in the front. Once you've found a pack that feels comfortable to you with no weight in it, I highly recommend putting a good 15 to 18 pounds in it and walking around the store to see how it feels when it's loaded. And don't just walk around 50 feet and back and go, yeah, that's good, because that's a totally different experience than wearing the pack for any amount of time. So I recommend to our customers that they walk around the store, spend a good 15 or 20 minutes just shopping and seeing how it feels, bending, stretching, moving in the pack to make sure that it feels like it really is almost an extension of your body and not some giant turtle shell that you have that's completely uncomfortable and makes you miserable. So beyond having a pack that fits, you want to think about how does the pack store your gear. As I mentioned, this pack has a brain, and it didn't have any straps on the top, but I went ahead and added this shock cord so that I could tuck things in here to dry while I was on the trail. A lot of packs with the brain allow you to remove it. And I took this off midway through my hike just because it saved me about £1, and I found that the things that I was storing in here were things that I could just put into a smaller pack or a smaller container and stick them down in my pack, and so I really didn't need the brain. Now what's nice about some packs is that this brain can actually be turned into a chest strap or a fanny pack, and so you don't need to carry an extra bag for your time in town, and that's helpful if you're doing a long hike where you'll be going into town to resupply on foot. Now as you're looking at how packs are configured, a lot of them are just one big compartment. The more structured packs like the Ospreys and the Gregory's may have a pouch down here at the bottom where you can put a sleeping bag or a tent or something else that you want easy access to. Some of them also have straps on the bottom where you can strap on a sleeping pad or something else along the way. This is a very minimalist pack, so it's got one big column where I put all my gear. I put a garbage bag in to line it to keep it dry, and then put my gear down inside. And then it's also got this pocket on the outside where I keep my Z-seat and my tent stakes and any rain gear or anything that I might need. It's also got extra places where you can put your trekking poles, straps to compress it down and also hold your gear in, and these are great to put carabiners on if you need to hang some camp shoes or something like that. So that was really all I needed. What does that add up to? 2, 4, 6, 5 pockets. Now one thing that I found is that the side pockets here, you can see they're not really angled, and it was a little hard for me to get my water bottles out. Some packs have an angled pocket here so that you can just reach back like that, and some of them even have a spot here where there's, like, see there this little slit is? Some of them have a much bigger gap there where you could stick your water bottle in from the side, which is a really nice feature. Another consideration is how the pack opens. This one has a roll top and a clip to go across it to keep your gear in, and then this would also allow me to stick something underneath there if I needed to. But I liked the roll top because it's really kind of almost an infinite adjustment depending on how much or how little gear I have. You can see when it's opened up that really, as long as I could roll 3 times, I could fill that space up. And when I was going on a longer section like the 100-mile wilderness where I had a ton of food, that was extremely helpful for me, but most of the time I tried to keep it pretty minimal and not take too much gear. Now some other packs have more of a drawstring, and you may notice that it's got a drawstring, and if the brain is removable, there might be an additional piece of fabric that will go over this when the brain is removed, but that's extra weight in the pack. So as you're looking for a pack and trying to figure out, okay, how can I get a little bit lighter? The things to think about are how wide are these straps? You will see them up to, you know, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and even smaller than this. I've seen some packs where they're about 1/4 inch, and that is weight on the pack. Other things that are weight are zippers, extra fabric like that piece that I mentioned that goes over the top, extra pockets create weight. So if you're looking for a lightweight pack, the structure of the back that I talked about is one way to save some weight. Going to semi-frameless or frameless will save you some weight. And then also cutting down on the number of straps, the number of pockets, I call it bells and whistles, will help you to get a lighter pack. If that doesn't matter to you and you're just going out for a couple nights and you want the most comfortable pack possible, you might want to have all those bells and whistles. You might want to have a pocket for everything as part of your organizational system. It really depends on what your own preferences are for your hike. So keep all those things in mind, and I hope that that will help you to find the right pack for you next time you go pack shopping. So thanks for watching, and make sure that you've hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and click the bell to get notified of all my new videos. And if you have comments or questions, go ahead and put them down in the comments section. I read everyone and respond to as many as I can, and I'll look forward to seeing you here again next time.